through the flower stitching foot again. Okay, I'm going to put you on side camera so you can see it. There's one or two things I need to talk to you about to make it clear, because I don't think I did last week, and that was very remiss of me, very remiss. Who says they're late? June, what have you been doing? What time is it? It's 22 minutes past. Right, I better just switch this off. I'll get distracted. Right, okay. Let's go on side camera. Quick. Let's get going. Otherwise, we never get going. Let me. Ooh, hold on. Something's come on my screen. That's it. Now, do you want to come in a bit more? We'll wait and see. We'll see how you feel about it. I can come in a bit closer. Okay, so this is your flower stitching foot, and yes, it is a big beastie. Somebody said, oh my gosh, that is a big beastie. And don't be put off by the fact that, look at this face in there, don't be put off by the fact that it's big. It means nothing, all right? Obviously you've got to make sure that it goes over the top of your needle bar and all that sort of thing, just the same as a walking foot really. So although it looks like something out of Star Wars, it's your friend, okay? It's nothing to be frightened of, it's your friend. Obviously we've talked about the setup of this last week, that it's got the little cogs on there for this little bar here to sort of chunk its way around. It's what helps stabilise everything. Which reminds me, I've got to put my pressure foot up as far as I can go, which is on. And obviously this bar here you can move with the screw, undo the screw, loosen it up, this little screw here, and you can move this centre bar from one side to the other. I don't know if I can do it. Let's see if I can do it. There we go. So it goes across like that, can you see? Sorry for flashing. Or it can go to the other side like that, okay? And depending on whether you want a small flower or a big flower, okay? So I'll put it back to the large one again. And actually, you don't need to use a screwdriver on that screw. A nice hand tight will do. Now, this machine is a Juki, and it's actually a high shank machine. Now, most machines, or most of your machines that you have, are a low shank, okay? And I would say 90%, I don't really want my face in there, I'm going to move this, 90% of regular domestic machines are low shank, okay? If you've got a high shank like me, and my other Duke is the same, can't think what else, my Boninas are different as well, you will need an adapter, okay? And my adapter is that. I'll try and hold it. Okay, it's just a bit of metal that screws onto your knee, on the shank of your machine, and it kind of lowers the foot, so it makes it into a low shank, okay? Now, because I've seen a couple of comments where people have said, oh, this flower stitching foot isn't appropriate for my machine. It's appropriate for every single sewing machine on the market. You have just got to get the adapter. So even if you've got a Bonina, you will get a Bonina adapter. If you've got a Juki or a semi-industrial machine, some of the really big machines, I think there's a Brother that's actually a high shank as well. You should know what your machine is. Then you just need this little tiny adapter, which would be just perhaps a few pounds. And in actual fact, you'll also need an adapter like this to do free motion work. So unless your machine comes with its own foot, but my machine has its own foot for free motion, but I still need to use the adapter. So that was something very remiss of me last week, that I didn't tell you that that's what you needed. It's just one of those things where I just get used to my machine, and I just forgot to tell you that that's what you need. So you can just take the ankle off of your machine, so that's that bit there, okay? That's what it looks like. You should have the same. And if I put my foot down, you can see that that's the shank there, and it's a high shank. It's lit, as it says on the tin. So I'll just take the screw out. And I'm sorry my hand's in the way, so I've just taken that little screw out because I need, wherever it is, to attach my adapter, so I'll have to put that up. So it will. So anything now will fit my machine. So I'm just going to put my foot down again, so I can see it. So now that little screw that I just took out, I'm going to now put in there to hold it to the shank of my machine. Okay, so I'm just going to hope for the best that this is all this will go smoothly, because I'm all fingers and thumbs. That's fine, and it's quite a lot of turning to get it on, and it's just a screw, nothing complicated. Okay, it's nothing complicated, just a screw. And obviously if you've got a lovely screwdriver, I've got a lovely screwdriver somewhere, God knows. And so now my adapter is fitted. Okay, yeah, Brother Machine comes from the adapter. I think something like the V7, I think, is a high shank. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But you should know what your machine is, okay? And this flower stitching foot will fit every single machine known to man. You just need to know what you need to get for your machine. Right, so let's just take the screw out of this, because now I need to fit the flower foot to my machine. Now let's not do what we did last week and put this on and then realise actually I need to put the frame in, because I've got a little frame tonight, so I'm going to be a little bit restricted, but it will give you some idea. What's this say? I think some people have watched a video on YouTube as they said it was only available on low shank. No. That's a no then. So I've got my wash away stabiliser. Now there's all sorts of different brands out there. I quite like this one because it's a little bit more, it's a bit more like a proper stabiliser, if you like, a bit like an iron-on stabiliser, like the H250, a bit more to it, but literally that's like a glue sheet, really. It's I don't know how to describe it, but it's not a stabiliser as such, but it will hold your stitches. But you need to put it in a hoop, ideally, because it's a wash away. If you try to use that without a hoop, it might get a little bit gathered, you know, snagged. Okay, you won't get a nice flower shape necessarily. So also we need to make sure that we put the metal on the bottom. To be honest, it doesn't really matter, but you put your metal on the bottom and your hoop inside. Okay, like that. Let me just take that out of my machine. Okay, so because you need this, can you see, this part needs to be flat against your machine, and I'm sure those of you that have actually used this over the last few days know full well how to do this. But then that's fine, that's ready to go. So we can pop that under the machine. I'll just raise my needle a little bit and pop it under. Now it could be that when you put the foot on your machine, you will be able to put a hoop underneath it. You might be able to get your presser bar and raise this up a little bit more to be able to get the foot in, okay? I know I can't with this machine. You know, all these tricky machines have tricky things to do. So we've got these two little bars here. We talked about that last week. Got those two little bars there, and that's just pretty standard on most machines, that you've got a little grab bar there to go round the shank of your, I can't do this without, I think you can see it now, that goes around the shank of your machine here, and then the screw that I originally took out, then I just screw it on and just make sure that this bar goes over the needle bar, okay? So let me just have a look at that. I just need to make sure that's out of the way. And I'll just raise that up again. Right, so it is a little bit fiddly, I'm not denying it. Just put the bar over first. I'm going to try and keep my head out of the way, but I can see what I'm doing. That's it, put the bar over first and then put the grab feet on. Here we go. Let's get it on. Hold on guys, I'm making a big zoo of it, of course. There we go. So put your bar over the top of the needle bar, and then just put your, can you see the two little prongs are now sitting across the shank, just like a regular foot, and then you just got to put the screw in. So let's just see if I can get my hand in there. I wish they made these a lot easier, because they are fiddly, aren't they? The screws I find very fiddly, and the older I get, the worse I get. And I've got shaky hands now, so that it makes it even worse. So let's get let's get the screwdriver in. Hold on, nearly dropped it. See if I can do it faster with a screwdriver. Not sure I can, but we'll give it a go. And then I said to the girls, my admin ladies, love them, I said, gosh, it took me ages to get this screw wound up, and they said it wasn't quite as long as you thought, Lizzie. But if you're the one that's turning the screw and it's taken an age, then it does feel like that. Let's see. Let's just make sure that's on. It doesn't look on to me. Ah, it is now. There we go. Right, good. Goodness gracious. Get there in the end. I told you it's got a long. There we go. We've got it now. Great. And I haven't got much room. Do you see this? I've only got a little ring here, so we're only going to do a little bit, so you can see. Now, because we're going to do a flower, I'm going to take my regular thread out, and we'll get some pretty embroidery thread. I would try anything in your machine and see what your machine loves. I mean, my Benina hates all sorts, but this Dukey isn't too bad. It tolerates a fair bit of thread, and obviously with embroidery threads, I don't know if I caught it then. Let's go up. With embroidery threads, some are better than others. Hold on, let me just move that. Okay, right, got it now. Yes, some are better than others. And you know I always recommend the Somac threads. This isn't Somac, I think it might be Marathon. I'm not all that keen. Right, goodness me. I didn't really want to set this up beforehand, so now I'm going to thread my needle, so I need to put my foot down for that. I just press a little thingy there and it threads my needle, and it always catches the thread, but always be very gentle with your needle threader. And hopefully that is now set up. So it's just a case of choosing a stitch. So I'll just pick something quite quickly. Let's do that one, 22. I'm going to do the biggest zigzag. Let's just see. Let's just take that back a bit. You don't want it to hit the, that'll do. Stitch length I'm going to take down to, I don't know, 1.5. We'll see how we get on, and then we'll just try and do some nice flowers. I want it set on the widest setting, so I think I had it there, but because we've been faffing about, I'll just make sure that that is moved across. Yep, that's fine. I'll pop that down. Right, see how we get on. See how we get on. Make sure we don't hit the bar or anything. Just feed dogs down. There we go. My foot pressure is on the maximum, and let's see how we get on. So you can see, let me zoom you in. Let me zoom you in. Whoops, gosh. There we go. You'll be able to see, hopefully, this little bar here. Maybe turn that a little bit. There you go, that's better. You'll be able to see that little bar going around the the cog. It's like a cog, isn't it? So you can see how that works. And what they recommend is at least twice all the way around. So we'll see how we get on. And the trick to all of this is to make sure that when you do your flowers, or whatever you do on water-soluble, that you join them together with some threads. Ah, V2Q. Yeah, I thought it was a V something. So just keep carrying on. Just to speed up a little bit. And then you can manually move the little ratchet and the cog. You can actually move that around a little bit. And then we could alter the stitch length maybe. So we'll go round a little bit more. Okay, so let's in fact, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's take the needle up. We'll change the stitch to something else. Let's have a look. I don't know, there's so many to choose from. Let's just try that. Who knows what that looks like? It's just like a cross stitch in a way. So let's have a look, see what happens. You can't see much, but you can see a little bit. What's in your bobbin? Just regular thread. You could, of course, because this is ooh, what was that? Because it's because you're going to dissolve it, you'd probably be as best to have matching thread in the bottom as well. But this is just for demo for you guys. Right, so that's one little flower. Let's call that a day with that one. But what I need to do now is to move this just slightly and join that flower up. I must admit I'm not very impressed with what I'm doing here. So let's see if we can find something else. Let's try that one. Stitch length we'll take down again to 1.2. And as long as you join your flowers up, so I don't know if you can just about see the edge of the flower coming out there. And perfect. What you want to do is to make sure that they both overlap each other, and this will come with experience on how much you want them to overlap, a lot or a little. Oh, now I see that's got stuck on the wood. Do you see it's got stuck here on the wood? So we'll give that a little hand. I'm not sure that's going to work because it's stuck. Yeah, because I've only got a little hoop, so I've got to be mindful of that. So we'll try and go round again. I'm just going to keep an eye on that, the side of the hoop. And as it comes round, it'll start touching it again, and it'll stop the stitches from going round. So I'm just going to give it a little hand. That's it, it's all right now. There we go. Again, we'll give it a little bit of a hand. You won't need to do this. You'll use a bigger hoop, guys. There we go. That's better. Okay, so that's enough of that. I'm going to move it again. So let's just. You could break your threads, I'm just being lazy. So I'm going to bring it over here so it's more in the centre. Hopefully it'll work. And we'll start again. Obviously any bits of thread leaping from one to another you can trim. Some of my flowers didn't line up on the second round. Well, yes, I mean, it does depend on whether your hoop moves, because we're not touching it, are we? It's free motion. And the pressure of this, you want the highest pressure that you can do on your machine. Now, you may not know about foot pressure, so look it up in your manual, but it would have a tendency to move if the pressure of the foot isn't strong enough. It's not pushing down on that fabric to keep it it in the same position. And yes, the second round may not line up. Yes, it's trial and error like everything. It's like, don't be put off. Do have another go. Don't. You mustn't worry about it. It's we're just doing some experiments, aren't we? And whatever you do is going to look beautiful. And I've seen some wonderful work. Truly, I have. So we're going to make a bit of a spider's mess with it. So let's take the needle up again and the foot up, and we'll just bring it. I'm not sure how that will sit, but we'll bring it over here and we'll have another go and see how we get on. I think it might catch when it comes round here. We'll have a look. Yeah, it's going to catch. Do you see? Right on the edge. This is why you need a lot bigger hoop. So let's just leave it at that. And I'll just cut my threads. I'll see if I can. I don't think I can get this out. No. Okay, so, oops. What I'm going to do is take my hoop out, and then I'll show you how it works with the water-soluble. Let's just take this. Hold on. Let's see if we can. And you can never do it quickly, can you? For goodness sake. It's one of those things. You think, oh yeah, just quickly unscrew that. You know that's not going to happen. Let's just quickly do it with my fingers, see if that helps. There we are. Good. Marvellous. Okay, it's a bit spider webby. I didn't choose very good stitches to demonstrate with, but we'll get an idea of how the water soluble works anyway. And as long as the stitches, the flowers, are connected to each other, you should get a fairly decent result. But it's quite interesting to see. I'm going to move my machine there so you've got a little bit of a view. Okay, what time have we got? Oh, not too bad. So I'll take it out of the hoop. Now obviously you're going to do more than that, and you're going to perhaps use lots of layers, lots of joining, you know, really make it interesting. You don't want as flimsy as mine, but let's just cut this out. And when you put this in the water, you can wash it all away, or you can just dip it in and leave a little bit of residue of the gluey stuff. And when you do that, you end up with it gets quite you can mould it, and it becomes stiffer. So just bear with while I get my water. So I've got a bowl. Let's put it there so you can see, with some hot water in a flask. Yes, it is a bit like spirograph. It's all these things are, you know, you can't reinvent the wheel, can you? But you can make that wheel interesting and perfect for you. So it's sort of tepid, so just pop it in, give it a little poke, and if I lift that out now, can you see how it's gone? Let me get a piece of fabric. Let me see. Hold on, hold on. There we go. So if I lift that up now, try and keep it all intact. What you can do is get like a face cloth or a towel, and just very gently lay it on your towel. I wish I could have done a better demonstration than this, but you can see how one flower connects to the other, and if you can get it out of the water, and make sure that it still resembles what you stitch. So you want to sort of make sure, so this bit here is not joined to there, so that's given me a sort of a bigger look, but this one's lovely. It's worked out really well. So, but make sure that before it dries, there we go, that your flower still looks like a flower. So although it looks a little bit raggedy, this needs to come round to there. just sort of get your pokey tool on it and form it into the flower again, and then when it dries, you'll be able to stitch it onto a project, a little piece of lace or something like that, and it will. And if you dry it over a round bowl, it'll still retain that curve because it's still got some of the glue in there. So you would need to do a lot more than this, guys, but it gives you an idea. And there is absolutely no stabilizer on that now. I don't move it; it'll just fall apart until it's dry. But there's no stabilizer on there. So if you sort of manipulate it and bring it together, there we are. So depending on what stitches you use and how you use it will depend on how it looks. So there we are. So that's that. Let's put that back. But it's just a lovely thing to do. Whoops. It's just a lovely thing to do. Right. Oh, great demo. I could have done more. I wish I'd put it on a bigger hoop now and we could have done more. Or I could have done more beforehand, but then I think it was good that you saw how to put the foot on again to talk about the high shank, low shank business, because obviously that's something I didn't do last week and I should have done. Naughty Lizzy. Right, well, slip it onto a bit of acetate, bring it out of the water. There we are. There we are. There's the tricks of the trade. Who's that? Who said that? Could you place a piece of fabric at the bottom or to lift it? Well, yes, of course. Recently. Oh, hold on. Are we talking off-piste here somewhere, guys? Hold on. Have I got my right mouse? Yes. Oh, Catherine says, yeah, we covered smocking a couple of weeks back. I showed you my my smocking machine. So look for that. It'll be a Facebook Live. You'll either find it on the website, on the members page, on Gold Members TV, or you will find it by putting in the search engine Thursday night chat, something like that. That will bring up all of the lives. And I did it. Well, it would have been. It was for the journal, so it was probably March, probably February. I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, I covered it a few weeks back. Right, so now I'm going to show you real quick how to make a flower. It's really lovely. Let me just put you on the overhead. Oh, wrong mouse. Goodness gracious. I'm going to put you on the overhead. There we are. So I'm going to show you how to make this flower, as I loved the idea earlier, and I've put some glitter on mine. I can show you how I did that. Obviously, if you've got the glitter pens, you know, the world's your lobster. And I've put a little bead in there, which I've put some glitter on as well. I'm going to show you how to make it. And you can obviously put a brooch back on the back, but it's really sweet, and it's something that you could make lots of, put round the edge of a bag or a cloth or something like that. So that's what we're aiming for, and I'll sort of keep it there. So what you need is about 7 or 8 pieces of fabric. So you can see I used this earlier, and I would split this up into about layers of, well, 3 or 4, so you can cut through all of the layers. And I need my pen, and all at one time, so it saves. Hold on, let me get my pen. There we go. Now I just happen to have a metal die in my collection that is perfect. Minimum I would say would be 2 inches across here for a circle. If you get the big can of 505, that is also the same size. Okay, so if you've got a big can like that, then use that. I just happen to have this die lying around, as you do. So literally just draw around your die, or whatever, your can lid, whatever you've got, so anything that's a circle, and obviously the bigger the circle, the bigger the flower. Do you like my new cover? I've still got to get that out, but I think it looks quite nice, doesn't it? I think just having the white was a bit too stark for me, so I thought, I know, I'll get a cover. And also for making it Monday projects, I don't want a mat with measurements on anymore, because we've had people copying without buying the pattern, guys. Can you believe that that's what's been happening? Kath and I are very upset about it, so I'm not using a mat with measurements on anymore. If you want a cutting mat, I can bring one up. So this is 4 layers, so get your nice sharp pinking shears out. You don't need to use pinking shears, regular scissors are fine. You might get a little bit of fraying, but actually sometimes that really works. And just cut around. You don't need to be super duper accurate. For those of you that are moaning and groaning and saying, oh, I can't cut out by hand, then you could use your die cutting machine. If you've got a scan and cut, use that. If you've got the Cricut Maker, use that. If you've got the other half, use him or her. If you've got grandchildren, get them involved. There's so many different ways that you'll be able to create this lovely, lovely, pretty little flower. Okay, so now we need a needle and thread. Get a decent needle. I don't know what this one is, but it's super. It's quite a chunky needle, but it's not. It's going to go through the layers. So double thread, so it's nice and strong. So let's just get that threaded up. Oh, and I saw the other day a new needle threader. Of course I can't remember now what it's called, but it's not available in the UK yet. As soon as it's available in the UK, I'm going to make sure that I show it to you, because it looks fab. Okay, so I think we've got 7 circles here. So obviously think about the size and what you want to achieve. So don't worry about the heat erasable pen mark. That'll come off in time, or get your iron on it now. You're going to do wrong sides together, fold in half, give it a little squidge, not too much. Okay, then you're going to go into a third, and then you're going to tuck it under. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that 7 times. So if you don't get it the first time, you'll be absolutely sick to death of hearing me say it. So just knot those layers together, okay? And then we're going to get the next one. Wrong sides together. Okay, just give it a little squidge. You're going to fold it into a third. Okay, and then you're going to fold it again underneath. So let's just quickly say, on the top, fold it over on a third, underneath, fold it over to a third. You're just going to put your needle through the point like that, and you're just going to lay them on top of each other. Now, if they don't sit straight away, do not worry about it, because what you can do is get a clip and just clip them together. Okay, so they hold fast, then you don't have to worry about them, because if you've got fiddly hands like mine, I constantly shake now, constantly, so I have to come up with things to stop that from, you know, getting in my way. So wrong sides together, fold in half, fold to a third, and fold under. Take your needle, go all the way through, and line it up with the last one you did, and pop your clip in to hold it. So it's really neat and tidy. It's lovely. What a great idea. So fold in half, give it a little squidge, fold in a third, and fold under. Get your needle, pop it through. Okay, couldn't be any easier. And then open your clip up. There'll come a point where we need a second clip, and just hold that together. Get the next one, wrong sides together, little squidge, fold it into a third, fold it under. I'm just looking at them in my worktop. It's really nice, isn't it? I just got to get rid of that crease, and then you'll think it's a really wooden, like proper wooden table. And then put your needle through. Don't worry if you're putting your needle through the front or whether you flip it and go to the back. Not important. So all you want to do though is to go through all 3 layers, and we're going through, as you can see, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch, and then add it to your stack. Right, so we're just about exhausting that little clip there, so I'm going to get another clip and clip the last 2 together like that. It seems a bit extreme, but it keeps them all neat and tidy, and you'll thank me for that little tip. Okay, wrong sides together, fold into a third, fold under. I love this so much. I think I could make hundreds of these. You could do these as bunting, you could use this as a brooch, you could use it as onto a hairband, you could put it on the side of a bag. There's so many things you could do with this gorgeous little flower, and depending on what beautiful gem you put in the middle would depend on the outcome. A mason jar lid, you see? Oh, somebody says that's disgusting. It's not as if the patterns are expensive. Yeah, that's what me and Kath thought. Well, and the rest of the team. That's the rest of the team. Can you believe it? I know. We're so upset about it. So now we don't use our measuring mats on our tables, and we are using templates from now on. So all the patterns, hopefully, if we can have enough brain power, will we'll have templates. So there's no chance of copying. So there we are. So we've got a little stack together, and if you want to make it more puffy, then please add a couple more. Okay. So now what you're going to do is, you've obviously got your little concertina there. So you want to, if I were you, I would just make sure this end one is secure. In other words, the thread is as tight-ish as you can get, so it's not all going to come undone now. And all we need to do is take that thread around to here. So you're going from one end to the other end, literally. Okay, so if I do it like that, you can see there's my thread there, coming out that end. Yeah. And I've just put my needle in at the other end, and that'll bring them all round. See? It's like magic. It's like magic. And then you want to secure that. So just a few little over stitches, slip stitch. Now somebody said in the questions this morning when I said help about needle sizes on your machine, and they said what's the difference between like a 12 to an 18. Now if I'm going to get this wrong, I know I am, but when you see 80-12, one bit of that, and it could be the 80, is American, and the other bit, which is the 12, is British. So we have 80-12, which is a cross between American and British sizing. Okay, they are the same thing, just I don't know why we have to have that, but there we are, that's how it is. And I would say a 12 probably for all your general sewing, a 10 if you're going to be sewing a lighter weight fabric like a Tana lawn, a 14 if you're doing a plique and there's lots of layers, a 16 if we're going on to denim, an 18 if you're going on to upholstery fabric. And obviously I've used it, well, it could be American, it could be British, I forget, it's the age, you know. But that's all you need to know, and that's quite a good sort of good question to ask, actually. Good question to ask. Right, so let's just stitch those bits together. Oh, come on, Lizzy. There we are. So I want to put a bead in the centre of that. So I'm going to keep my thread onto my in my needle. I'm going to keep my needle threaded. I've made a knot now. Hold on. Let's just try and get that knot on. It doesn't matter if that's fine. Just take your needle up to the centre. Don't worry too much where, as long as you're going in the centre, can you see, like that? That's where you want to come out. And we want a bead. So I haven't got a glittery one at the moment. So I've just found these. Oh, look at that. Is that a bead? It's a bit big, isn't it? Look at all these. Oh. They're a bit wild and wacky. That's quite nice. I'm supposed to be thinking was supposed to be thinking Jubilee, but I mean this wasn't. I was going to use Jubilee fabrics and I thought no, I don't want to. Oh, look at that, that's nice. So get your needle. We've got a double thread, so that's fairly strong with a double thread, but you might want to go through again. So just put your needle through, get that bead into the centre, and you want to make sure that when you, because it's a bead, you want to make sure that the thread is at the bottom, both sides. Can you see? You don't want it twisted, so you know, work at it to make sure that's sitting nice and flat. And then we'll just do a couple of over stitches just to secure that. That'll do. So you can see where I'm going with this. I think that's about right. Well, if I'd had more time I would have done a few. I might put a bit of glue on there. And then what you need to do is go around each petal and open it up. And it might want to sort of go back into a fold again. And that's fine because it'll find its own level. But just open it up and work your way around. And obviously, with as long as if you've got that thread still on your needle in the actual flower, then you could stitch a brooch back onto it, can't you? So there we go, that one there. I think I've done all of them. Let's just move those out of the way. So there we are, that's it. So where you can see the heat erasable pen, obviously you can then get your iron on there or just put it under put it on a radiator and that'll get rid of it. And there we are, there's our lovely flower. Isn't that beautiful? Really lovely. I think you'll enjoy making them. Whoops. I think you'll enjoy making them. And like I say, if you've got the thread still on the back, then you could stitch or even glue a brooch back. Or you can attach that to something. So, for instance, it's a bit big for that. Let's get that one. A lovely bag that I have near me at all times because I just think it's beautiful. Not because I made it, because of the fabric. You could actually pop that on there, couldn't you? Just needs a bit more oofing. You know how these things do. Let's just open that up a bit. There you go, look. And that could sit on there, look. Wouldn't that look amazing? That one there. That's a bit much. Oh, I don't know. I think I could live with that. As a person, I think I could live with that. Oh dear, we like a little bit of bling, don't we? Oh, and who said that about, oh, it was Chris. There we go. Yeah, while watching TV, Helena, definitely. You saw I made it in like 10 minutes, didn't I? So, very easy to do. And using up your scrap fabrics again. And there's going to be fabrics to win next week in my competitions, or our competitions and games. And actually there's a perfect little set. I've got 4 little sets of fabric that would be perfect for this. But don't forget, I mean, I've made it with just one fabric. Let's pop a pin in so it stays put. I've just made it with one fabric, but you could, you know, make it with multiple fabrics. There you go. Look, I don't think I can keep the pins in there. Oh, it's so cute, so cute. Right, so thank you very much for that. I've really enjoyed it. Goodness knows how my, where is it, over there, how my lovely lacy flowers are going to look when it's dry. But don't forget, I only did a little bit, so you need to persevere with it. You need to make sure that it's a bit like a spider's web. You've got to make sure that they're all touching. So when you take it off, when you dissolve the fabric, that it stays pretty much intact. And that idea about the acetate, I wonder who that was. Was that Kath? Because she's done a lot of this work. It was a great idea because it keeps it as it is. That's what you want to do. But poke it around with your pokey tool or your sharp scissors and work it, because it will dry solid, which is lovely, and then you can stitch it onto something. So yeah, great evening. Thank you very much. So don't forget, Sunday morning at some point, I should know, I think it might be 10 o'clock. I'll give you an update. I'll remind you. I'm going to be talking all things birthday and what all the games and competitions are and what to look out for, what the prizes are, show you all the prizes of what you can expect to win. Everything is done in a random way, so there's no sort of, well, just random. It's just random. It's lovely. We love it. We love birthday week. We always have to have a little dose of sanatogen before we start birthday week. Tomorrow night, I'm on YouTube. I don't know when. Maybe 6:30. Certainly before Abigail's cool thing, just to talk about this little idea that I've got about bringing the sewing community together a little bit more easily on YouTube. It's an interesting concept that I don't know if it's going to work or not. It's all about audience participation, nothing to do with anything that I'm going to actually do as such, but I'm going to give lots of instructions on what we can do to make our sewing community a little bit easier for us. So that will be tomorrow night around about, let's say, 6:30, only for sort of 10 or 15 minutes. And if you miss it then, you know it's always on YouTube. It's always there. It won't be on Facebook. It's not appropriate to Facebook. And that's it. And Saturday morning I'm going to into Norfolk with Abigail. We're going to I can never say their name. Is it Doughty's Fabric Roadshow? I never know how to say that. And that's it really. Lots of interesting things happening. So, and I'm doing the Making It Monday, which is fantastic. Got a great little project for you. Well, I think it is. We think that every week. Right, I shall see you all again soon. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. I might just go and have a little glass of sherry. I think I deserve it. And I will see you all again. If not tomorrow night, I'll see you Sunday morning. Bye.